Let's talk about double stops.
I don't even know how to do double stops. What are double stops?
There are a few easy things we can do to make double stops more friendly. I promise. So let's pretend like there is an invisible ghost string between your A and your E string. Quite helpful. Thank you, Anders. Thank you. Ghost dismissed. Ghost dismissed. Your bow essentially wants to be even on both strings. Even distribution on A and E. So if you can envision a ghost string in between. It's a good visualization. So unfortunately, sometimes when we concentrate on a new skill, our shoulder hunches up and our bow hand gets really hard. So we want to make sure this is soft and we want a nice light amount of pressure. You actually can do less pressure than you would normally use so that we don't get a crunch. So we don't get that icky crunch and we... Stop crunching! And we can keep track of how much pressure is on each string. So I would start by aiming for a nice mezzo piano double stop. It's really exciting to go ba-da-da-da-da-da, you know, and we'll get there. But I would start with a nice mezzo piano soft double stop. So instead of walking around for an entire day just playing those open stringed double stops, let's think of a fun rhythm you could do. Maybe it could be what you want for dinner. Macaroni and cheese, or it could be a shuffle, long, little, long, little, long, little, long, little. It could be one fluffy cat, two fluffy cats, three fluffy cats, four fluffy cats. That's going to be my obvious choice. Then I figure out what that's going to do to my bow. I'm going to do long, little, long, long, little, long. And I'm going to remember that once my bow starts moving, I'm going to have the impulse to crunch down. I'm going to have the impulse to look around the room, look for that fluffy cat. Keep your eyeballs on that invisible string. Stay nice and soft with your bow hand. Think about what your bow distribution is going to do. Plan ahead when you come up with your fun rhythm. Long, little, long. Long, little, long is what I did there. How about a shuffle? Long, little, long, little, long, little. Be creative. Let's add some more variety. Let's add fingers on the top note. That's going to be your first level up, is fingers on the top note. Try to be honest about your hand. Make sure you have little bridges here and not slides, because that will benefit you for our second level up. Our second level up is going to be fingers on the lower string. Now, unfortunately, there's no cheating. You have to have bridges instead of slides. So, to test that before you put that bow on the string and discover something really awful, to test that, let's make a bridge and let's just pluck to make sure that our E string can still ring. How about with second finger? It's kind of a fail. How about with third finger? And then we can try adding them. You could even play in tune. You're going to find that it's going to sound icky until you adjust your finger, because our intonation is different when we're playing two notes than when we're playing one note. Too much information. Let's continue. If it sounds gross, move your finger. That's the rule. Sounds gross, move your finger. Let's try a tune with our fingers on the lower string. I'm still just sticking to A and E for now. If you're trying this on viola, A and D for now. Let's try a little shuffle tune, a little boil them cabbage down. We're gonna start with C sharp and then D, back to C sharp, and then B. I have a feeling some of you may have played this before anyway. Level up. We're gonna level up again. Fingers on both strings. The easier version of this is always gonna be for the higher numbered finger to be on the higher string. Then you can flop them and you'll see what I mean. It's a little bit harder to get in tune once you flip-flop those. So what I mean is the lower finger number, I'm gonna put B finger down on the A string, and the higher finger number, I'm going to put G finger down on the E string, and that's going to be the double stop I'm experimenting with right now. And remember that you're not going nuts. Just because it was in tune when it was by itself doesn't mean it's going to sound good when you put those two fingers together. So just adjust. I'm almost ready for our next level up, but I wanted to remind everybody that we cannot level up unless we're feeling super confident on the previous level. When you catch a Pokemon, it doesn't evolve just because you're excited for it to evolve. It evolves because it trains, right? It has to spend time at that level and you're like, come on, the next evolution is so cool. But not until it's ready, not until it has that experience does it evolve. So, be like a Pokemon. There's my analogy there. Here's the next level up. I would like you to try an octave. Octave meaning 8 notes apart. It's going to be the same note. I'm going to try E on the D string to E on the A string. Now, on violins and violas, you're always going to do 1 and 4 for your octaves. There are exceptions to the rule if you like self-torture. But for now, 1 and 4 it is. I'm going to find my octave, and octave will always tattle on you if it's out of tune. There's no getting around it. Nobody's going to hear this and be like, sweet. Sounded pretty good. Or this, right? We just have to find that sweet spot for your octave. So I have my 1 and 4. This is a good level up challenge. You can even try an extension next. I'm going to move my E to an F sharp. Not a super pleasant interval. I'm going to move my 4th finger to a G. Oh! It's a good level up. It's a good level up. Try it when you're ready. We're just going to touch on triple stops. I've already talked for a really long time. So we're just going to touch on triple stops. We're not going to talk a ton about technique, but just do a little bit on triple stops. There are 3 or 4 different ways we can play, or 5 different ways we can play every triple stop. And it really depends on style. I think you should experiment with all the different ways. It would be lovely to have every single different way to play a triple stop in your arsenal. And of course you would want to consult a teacher if you're not sure about style. If it's a solo piece, you can experiment with all the different ways. If it's not a solo piece, you're gonna have to all be on the same page. But I'd probably ask a teacher no matter what if you're not sure which kind of triple stop you want for a piece. So you can of course start with just open strings or arpeggiating it. I'm going to add an F sharp on the E string as like an easy actual chord that you might encounter in triple stop form in your music. But definitely start with open strings, especially if you're getting frustrated with having a finger down right away. So I'm just gonna have my F sharp finger down on the E string right now for this, and we're mostly focusing on our bow, of course. So triple, 3, we have 3 notes to contend with now. All the same rules apply that I was talking about with our soft bow hand and keeping an eye on your bow placement, all those things apply. And assuming we have that basis of knowledge, the first way is just to play every note. We have 3 notes and all kind of like it's slurred together. I'm going to play these 3 notes arpeggiated. So each note is going to speak by itself. If you're practicing, each way I'm going to practice this, I'm going to go backwards and forwards, and backwards and forwards, just to practice it. Put your eyeballs on your bow. If your eyeballs are on your bow, your brain's going to be on your bow. Keep your eyeballs on your bow and just pay attention to what it's doing when it's touching each string there and just rocking back and forth across the string. So this is just my wing level is changing here, right? The second way I'm going to do it is 2 + 1. So, and you can take this apart and put it, you can probably already guess all the different ways I'm going to say, right? So 2 + 1 means I'm going to find a beautiful double stop here, and then just one string here. So that's the 2 + the 1. But first I'm going to practice it always with that stop to make sure I can see what my string crossing is doing and it's clean. Stop. And backwards. Stop. Then we can reverse that and we can do 1 + 2. I don't think I use 1 + 2 very often, but it is certainly something we can do. And of course, after practicing with the stop, then we need to smooth out the edges, smoosh it a little bit. You can still practice it forwards and backwards. 2 + 2, a very common way to play triple stops. And when you do 2 + 2, now all of a sudden we're worrying about 2 separate double stops. Your middle string, right now it's my A string, your middle string is going to be like the middle of the teeter-totter. If you don't know what a teeter-totter is, or a seesaw, it's 2 different names. If you don't know what it is, go to a really old playground and you can find one where one butts on this side and one butts on that side and we go whee, right? That's a seesaw or a teeter-totter. They're not as common anymore. So we're going to use that middle string as the middle of the teeter-totter. I like the word teeter-totter. We stop and we rock. Stop and rock. Go back and forth. Always start with that stop. Smooth out the edges. If we don't have a trill or something on the top, I really like my students to use the 2 + 2 method because it just makes your triple stop just big and chunky. Like it just sounds really nice and full. We could also play all 3 notes at the same time. Not advised. That's a level up, and I'm not even going to play it for you today. That's a level up, right? So those are the ways I would do it. Now I would consult with your orchestra teacher if you see a triple stop in orchestra music, because you all have to be doing the same thing. And you might not even get to play all the notes. You might actually divide them up for better orchestral intonation. Even the professionals do that. That's always a wise choice. Otherwise, you have to time the rolling together. Don't be afraid to try these. Yes, only level up when you're comfortable. But keep in mind that it's going to be a hot mess the first few times you try it, no matter what. Push through that first level when it sounds like a hot mess. It's only going to not sound like a hot mess if you try it and try it and try it and try it. You can do it.